Welcome to the Creative Safety Supply podcast. Visit our website at creativesafetysupply.com and click on the blog link. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Creative Safety Supply podcast. I am Brandon Nyes, and with me today is, as usual, Kyle Holland. Today, we are going to be talking about personal protective equipment. In a bit, we're going to be talking with Scott Corvo from Ansel, who has some exciting new PPE technologies. But first, Kyle, what is PPE and why do we need it?
Well, hazards exist everywhere in the workplace, Brandon, in different forms. Sharp edges, flying sparks, chemicals, falling objects. These are a few just potential causes of injuries in the workplace.
So obviously OSHA is responsible for making sure that every employee in every workplace is safe. And from them, what do they usually recommend as far as companies keeping their employees safe?
Well, in most situations, OSHA is going to recommend that you separate the hazard from the employee. They want to put barriers up in between that. But we all know that's just not possible in every situation, in every moment in the workplace.
So personal protective equipment, or PPE, these are going to be things like gloves, hats, face shields, basically anything in the workplace that's going to keep these people safe. And PPE is obviously worn to minimize exposure to these unexpected various hazards that exist in the workplace. OSHA set out some figures on what they estimate as far as PPE injuries go, and they estimated something like, 320,000 hand and finger injuries that happen each year?
Yeah, it's one of the most common injuries in the workplace. I mean, PPE is your last line of defense. It's not going to prevent all injuries, but it can reduce these numbers significantly if they're worn correctly and they're used properly in the workplace.
So obviously there's going to be good PPE and there's going to be bad PPE. And when it comes to your hands, why would you want to skimp out on that? You use them every single day for things as minimal as hitting the snooze button in the morning to driving your car to whatever it is. Your hands are extremely important. And that is one reason why we brought in Scott Corvo today from Ansel. They are a world leader in hand protection. You look at their lineup, and it is far and above the highest quality personal protective equipment that anybody has produced. And here at Creative Safety Supply, we are on board with any company who wants to make sure that their product is industry leading and is ultimately geared towards keeping their employees safe. So we're really excited to have him here with us on the program.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear what Scott has to say. Let's bring him in and hear what he's got to say about this new program they got going.
So for everyone listening, Scott Corvo is the president and general manager of the Global Industrial Business Unit at Ansel. Scott, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So, Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you ended up with Ansel.
Well, I have over 25 years of experience, mostly with consumer packaged goods companies. Really started out in my career in sales, which really grounded me in terms of understanding the customer and end user perspective. Worked my way through really two best-in-class CPG companies into just about every sales and marketing role that you could think of. And then at one point in my career, I decided to be an entrepreneur, did a startup, which was a really interesting experience and really taught me what it was truly like to run a business. So if you're raising equity and you're raising capital and you're doing just about everything, it's a different model than a lot of people have a chance to experience. I came to Ansel. The prior CEO that was with the company was my supervisor at a company called Cadbury Schweppes, a very global consumer packaged company. And been with Ansel for 9 years now. I started out really in global business development. I was the chief strategy officer for the company. Took over global marketing and strategy and business development, which included quite a bit of M&A work. And then when our new CEO, Magnus DeGlenn, joined us, we restructured our company around global business units with the idea of really expanding and driving more innovation into our our businesses around the world and really leveraging our global footprint in a much more efficient way. I became president of what was defined as a specialty markets group, which is really all the new and underdeveloped channels and verticals that Ansel is not well developed in. And was only in that role for about 14 months when I became president of the now Industrial Global Business Unit, which is Ansel's largest business unit, generates about 60% of the total company's profits and does about 40% of the total company's revenues. So based here in Europe, where I run the global business unit, been here 2 years and actually this month. And, we've really sort of re-engineered our thinking to really focus on the end user, focus on technology, and really put product leadership as a central focus for us. So that's why you see, or our users and safety people around the world will see us introduce a number of new innovations grounded in new technologies that we've been working on for the last year, 18 months in some cases, and each of them are driven by these big what I call big unmet user needs around comfort, performance, and protection.
Now, Scott, we did a little bit of research, and Ansel is a company that's pretty rich in history as far as safety goes. I mean, Ansel is rooted all the way back to Dunlop Tire Company back in 1888, right?
That's right. Eric Ansel founded the company where we have Australian roots. We are grounded in protection and everything we do across three businesses, primary businesses, if you will. Sexual wellness is part of the profile. We're really grounded in the industrial worker, industrial safety, and then, of course, we've got a medical business. So when we look at our product portfolio, it's really all about protecting people every day in their working lives, and has been for as you noted, over 100 years.
So looking over the product lineup from Ansel, especially with regard to the industrial environment, you guys are pretty industry leading. The technology really beats out the competition, especially now with your worker experience innovation platform. This is actually a pretty exciting thing that you guys have going on here. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, worker experience innovation is really all about really taking unmet user needs and translating those into what we define as either comfort, protection, or performance in our new technologies and our gloves. And we've had a history and a legacy of innovation, and this is just another way for us to take it to the next step and provide those kinds of insights, supported by our core brands, High Flex, Alpha Tech, and Touch and Tough. These are global leaders in their categories. High Flex is a leading global brand of over just about $200 million in sales, and is worn by millions of workers around the world every single day. So we've been able to take those insights, and then we're often copied by a lot of our competitors in terms of how they go to market. In some cases, they use us as their R&D platform as opposed to investing in their own R&D. And we've tried to insulate ourselves better with these new technologies that are really the foundation of everything we're going to be doing going forward.
So from what I've read about the worker experience innovation, from what you've said so far, basically what I'm gathering is there are three pillars of what you're trying to accomplish here. And it really boils down to, one, making workers more safe, two, making them more productive, and three, allowing them to be comfortable while doing it. Is that really the essence of what WEI is all about?
Well, it's really the art and the science is really about the right combination of comfort, performance, and protection. And, workers tell us, and safety people around the world tell us that, they want to be able to do their jobs and be protected. They need to perform their task in different ways and different applications, but they also need to be very comfortable. And oftentimes, most manufacturers struggle in getting all three of those with the right balance. So we've looked at that and created new technologies that really meet their biggest unmet needs. So, for example, AquaDry, which is we call it our moisture management technology. It's a patent-pending technology that uses an open-celled layer of nitrile foam with a glove interior that absorbs hand perspiration. So that provides a much cooler, more comfortable fit for a worker, but it equally provides them the types of performance and safety that they would expect. And overall, there are as we see it, these are the biggest unmet needs, and they've all been grounded into 6 basic technologies, all within that, as I said, that combination of trying to really get the art and the science to work for us with comfort, protection, and performance.
So, Scott, you mentioned the AquaDry technology. What are some of the other technologies that the WEI is really trying to focus on?
Another good example of that is the Repel technology that we just introduced. This was a very, very difficult process for us to try to combine the really 3 combinations of technology under one umbrella, which is really, Ansel's been known for its grip technology around the world for many, many years, providing workers with superior grip in various applications. But equally in those types of applications, they come into contact quite frequently with different levels of oil, which we see as a chemical, and that really causes workers all kinds of frustrations. And equally, if the worker's not satisfied and it's causing them frustrations, they're not going to wear the glove that you provide for them. Then translating that back to the safety people and those that are really charged with protecting workers and driving up productivity and driving down their costs. These guys won't wear the gloves. So how do you get them to ensure they're comfortable that these products perform and that they can do their jobs well? So Repel, again, the way we've combined the grip technology with the basically the cut levels that they expect in the certain applications, and then the Repel technology provides capability to repel, so to speak, oils, chemicals that might get into their hands, which combining those all into one, which is very innovative, provides, again, more comfort, more protection, and more performance.
So the technologies that you're talking about, these are all kind of incorporated into your glove lineup. But for people that know Ansel, they know that you do protective smocks, arm coverings, protective clothing. Are these technologies that are going to be incorporated into other markets in the future?
Yeah, there's no reason why. Again, if you run across this part of the reason why we branded these technologies, because we can use them pretty interchangeably depending on the types of application or even the types of actual personal protection equipment that somebody's using. So, for example, the Intercept technology we have with our yarns, that could be easily built into clothing protection for somebody that's in food processing, for example. And again, there are other types of technology that are what we define as platforms. So if we have the brand of the technology branded, if you will, that gives us the ability to move it to different products and different core brands over time and leverage those somewhat like an Intel inside strategy as we go. So moisture management is a big problem. I mean, most people, who are wearing clothing are not comfortable and they're trying to do their job. So the application of comfort, protection, and performance applies in those situations. So our intent is just to use these technologies as platforms, which is why we gave them their brand trademarks or names, if you will. And then over time, we will leverage those across our whole product portfolio.
So back in September this year at the NSC Congress and Expo, you released all of these technologies to the public. What was their reaction? Was there positive feedback, negative feedback? What was the result?
Well, it was really super. I mean, this is sort of a coming out for Ansel with a lot of these new technologies. We use the National Safety Council as a platform for doing that. We'll be doing the same thing at A+A in Düsseldorf, Germany next week. But again, we sort of took the worker experience innovation model and created a working lab, if you will, where we would, by invitation only, we would take some of our key customers in, and we would actually walk them through and actually demonstrate how the new technologies work. We would put them on their hands. We'd speak to them in terms of how, it would solve problems for them. As I said, we'll be doing the same next week. And it went really well. We've actually won 2 or 3 awards for safety awards, if you will, for some of the best new products of the year. Our HighFlex 518, which is a cut level 3 18 gauge product, first to market. has been winning awards left and right. So we're kind of excited about that. And we expect that some of these other products will have some of the same success that the HyFlex 518 did because, again, in many ways, they're first to market. They solve the big unmet needs that users have talked about. So we used the Chicago show, and as they said, we use A+A to really selectively, I have to say, introduce these new technologies to people. I say selectively because in the past, Ansel's been used as a sort of a platform for others' R&D, and we want to be a little bit careful about who we show these technologies to, give them a little bit of a mystique, but equally so, in some cases, we have to protect, obviously, our intellectual property. So once these things get into the market and they get used, in many ways, we'll have first mover advantage, which gives us hopefully a lot of growth in the future.
So, Scott, what is it that makes Ansel focus so much on PPE, and in particular, hand PPE? Why do you concentrate so heavily on hand PPE?
Well, it's a good question, and we deal with this every day around the world because it's, depending on the regulatory requirements and, the developed versus undeveloped emerging markets and so forth, people are very conscious of hand protection and the cost. I mean, it is the biggest PPE category, personal protection equipment category that safety people deal with, and it can impact their performance in terms of productivity and injury levels because the hand is usually the first place where people get injuries.
So I guess the big question for anybody who's listening to this right now is, when can I get my hands on these new Ansel products?
Well, all of these products are now available in our warehouses around the world in all the major markets. Our salespeople, all 300 of them around the world, are out selling these new products to our customers. There's a lot of media hype around them, and we're doing a lot of sampling and demoing. So I would just suggest they reach out to their Ansel sales representative, and they'll be happy to take them through them.
All right, Scott, thank you again for your time. We really appreciate you being on the program with us.
Hey, thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
We've been talking with Scott Corvo at Ansel about their new worker experience innovation platform. And Kyle, what do you think? For me, I'm looking at their new lineup and their new technologies, and I'm seeing a focus that isn't based on the cheapest product. They're not trying to just pump out as many gloves as they can, which, I mean, I'm sure they probably are, but they're trying to focus on what it is that the worker's experiencing. They're not worried so much about being necessarily a price leader, but they're worried about how the glove feels on your hand and how it protects the hand. And I don't know, what do you think?
No, I really think they're focused on the user needs. I don't think can be a concept anymore. There's just one glove fits all. I think that the workers' experiences that they're experiencing in the workplace are being translated into their new technologies and being translated into their new products. And as the future unfolds, I think we're going to see a lot more of this from them, and a lot more workers wanting to use their products because they allow them to work more efficiently, effectively, and be comfortable and safe wearing PPE, which, in some fields of work, it can seem like a cliche, PPE, do you have your PPE on today? And I think this will kind of alleviate a lot of that from the worker's experience.
Well, I know, especially with the new regulations and rollouts that are going out, especially things like GHS, where there's people that are working with chemicals every day or people that are working with crush hazards. Really, it's just smart business to have everybody working with the best PPE possible. And I'm agreeing with you 100%. I think that Ansel's really, really focused on what the workers' needs are, and moving forward, they already are the name, but they're going to further themselves from anybody else by continuing to produce the best products available. Well, everyone, it's about that time that we wrap up today's podcast. With me once again has been Kyle Holland, and this is Brandon Nyes with the Creative Safety Supply podcast. If you are interested in submitting ideas for future podcasts, please send me an email. You can send your emails to podcast@creativesafetysupply.com. Also, if you haven't been keeping up, we do have other podcasts and additional information available at our Creative Safety Supply blog, which is at blog.creativesafetysupply.com. And if you are looking for personal protective equipment or any other safety equipment or products, please visit our website at creativesafetysupply.com, where you can find a variety of 5S products, productivity products, things like our floor tape, safety tack, or our label printers, label tack. Be sure to stay tuned for our upcoming podcasts, and who knows, maybe you will be the next person on the other end of this microphone. Once again, this is Brandon Nyes with Creative Safety Supply and the Creative Safety Supply Podcast.